Sputnik. The American government was just as startled and scared by the word as the American people. The government had, for some time, known that they would have to show the world the triumphs of capitalism at the defeat of communism on the stage of technology, science, and advancement in space. However, it wasn't until this rude, spherical, and metallic wake-up call in 1957 that the American government actually took their late start in the race for space. This was in the form of the newly founded, non-military organization known as the National Aerospace and Science Administration, NASA for short. Right off the bat, NASA faced many struggles in organization from the top, as most missions would be started and ended only on hearsay. Up until the creation of NASA, the only real experience that the American government had with rocketry was in the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, known as NACA, of whom were in charge of the Army's rocket program after World War II. Once the space race really kicked off, however, the assets of NACA were transferred to NASA to help with the movement against the Soviet space program. Though NASA was around for almost 2 years before the beginning of the moon race, the Mercury and Gemini missions were not fully materialized until the most powerful leader in NASA administration took office, self-acclaimed Washington insider known as James W. Webb. Born in Tally Ho, North Carolina in 1906, Webb grew up as American as could be. Before his career as the second NASA administrator, however, he enjoyed a long career as a public servant in Washington, D.C., serving as an assistant or secretary to many different representatives in the House or Senate, before enlisting in the Marine Corps in 1944, eventually earning the rank of lieutenant colonel. Needless to say, his Washington experience helped him greatly in finding a job after the war, working in Washington for many years and becoming close to many presidential administrations, until 1960, in which he was appointed by President Kennedy to be the second administrator of the National Aerospace and Science Administration. The need for leadership was strong in NASA at this time. All the build-up to the creation of the administration, along with the impending uncertainty of the Soviet space program, gave way to high fears among leaders in the U.S. This was the moment when the nation was in need for strong leadership, more than any other time before. President John Fitzgerald Kennedy, understandably swept up in the movement to outperform the Soviets, placed a seemingly impossible goal of, quote, landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to Earth before this decade is out, at a speech he gave at Rice University in the summer of 1961. This is the moment that Webb truly excels. This is the very moment he's been waiting for his entire life, to prove himself as the calm, level-headed, and ready leader of a brand new type of competition. In this, he shows his capabilities in a variety of ways, from the acquisition of Johnson Space Center, JSC, in Houston, Texas, to gathering resources in preparation for a moonshot. Webb knew what he was doing. Many workers in the lower levels of NASA at the time were adamant of the success Webb had with the program, stating that the first steps of Neil and Buzz on the moon would not have been possible if it wasn't for Webb's incredible knowledge of politics, economics, and structure. Noted among the many accomplishments of Webb at NASA was the acquisition of Johnson Space Center, JSC, in Houston, Texas. The truth of the transaction is that the gained land was included in a deal struck with Texas Prime Oil Company. The company had worked with Webb in the past and were happy to work with him in his time of need. A representative from the company was quoted as saying, "Trying to talk to Webb was like trying to get information from a fire hose. The man was driven, determined, and was not about to take no for an answer, no matter how hard you tried." The acquisition was yet another essential working system for NASA's path to the moon. Though the actual landing that Webb had worked so hard to make possible happened less than a year after his resignation, Webb maintained that the fruits of his labor were sown in the smiles of young faces while watching the television in mid-July 1969, and his efforts will live on for future generations, inspiring entire nations of people to push the boundaries of humanity and towards the future. Webb's name will live on with the launch of the James Webb Infrared Telescope in 2016. The telescope will feature a new form of optics that consists of multiple mirrors to focus light more clearly and precisely than any other traditional single mirror source ever could. No system other than this can be a better testament to the greatness achieved by Webb and his expert use of knowledge, resources, and work ethics to achieve one amazing final image.